If you want to build pain-free ability in your whole body, then we need to assess your strength in key areas. At JHayStrength, we can do that. What's up, everybody? My name's Jeremy, owner of JHayStrength and ATG certified level 1 coach. In this video, we're going to be talking about how the ATG standards play a role in the assessment process, what that process actually looks like, and then we'll talk about whether you want to work in person or if you want to do something in the middle, sometimes in person, sometimes online, as well as customized programs and then some pricing options at the end. So let's start with how the ATG standards work with the assessment process and why we use them. So first off, let me just say the ATG standards are not magic. They're not perfect numbers, but they just put life mathematically a little bit more in, we'll say, in favor. Let me give you an example of one of the standards for the knee. We like to use step-ups. Now, the standard for the step-up in ATG is to use a 6-inch step with 150% of your body weight for 15 reps each leg. Now, someone who has chronic knee pain, first looking at that standard, seeing a demonstration, they might think, oh my gosh, that's impossible. I can never do that. It hurts just looking at it. But that's where I come in as the coach. We can regress that movement as much as you need to so that you can still access it and then just work up to the standard gradually at your pace. But let's assume you could do that standard. Then going down the steps is going to be a lot easier. If you're an athlete, going for a vertical jump where your knee ends up going over your toes is going to be a lot easier. And in just any position you can think of where your knee ends up over your toe, if you can handle that force, you can do that standard pain-free, then you're going to be able to handle those things a lot easier than, say, someone who can't perform that standard. So let's use a couple more examples, one for the shoulder and one for the ankles. I have one client who had one of his Achilles tendons torn, and he also had a torn labrum in one of his shoulders. So for the past several years, these have been really weak areas. And so we had to regress the movements severely for these standards in order to allow him to have an access point where he could just get started on the work. But again, let's imagine that he could do that standard, or anybody. Then you're going to be able to handle just that much more force going through the ankles or the shoulders compared to somebody who, say, could not perform that standard. So again, they're not magic numbers, but it just gives us something objective to measure against so that we can say, okay, you have this much protection against forces coming in these common weak areas on our body. So we like to use the ATG standards as a reference point. So what does the actual assessment process look like? Well, it depends somewhat on your mode of training that you want to work with me, but generally how it works is like this. Whether you're somebody who just wants to get started on the fitness journey, you don't have any real specific goals, but you know you want to get started moving on this journey. You want to feel better, you want to look better, you want to maybe lose some weight, or maybe you are an athlete and you have some very specific goals. So what it would look like is this. I want to have at least one session with you, maybe 2, 3, depending on how in-depth we want to go and exactly how specific your goals are, but at least one training session. What that'll allow me to do is just get some data, some information, get an idea of where you're at, where are your weak points, how far are you from some of these standards, and if you're an athlete, you want to go beyond these standards. So again, it gives us an idea to measure where you are now so we know how far we need to go to get you where you want to be, and we can start to build that blueprint. So again, at least one session, but depending on your goals, maybe 2 or 3 sessions before we can start to talk about specific goals, customized programs, and all of that. But speaking of customized programs, that's one of the things that I like to do for my clients. So after we go through that assessment process, we do just that. We talk about, okay, where are the weak points? What do we really want to improve on? And then we create a map to help you get there. customized programs based again on your needs and your goals. So if you want to work with me, there's a few different ways that you can do it. One option is to work with me in person. And with that, you have a couple options. So you can work with me in person in my home personal gym, if that's what you would like to do, a nice comfortable setting there, private, one-on-one. But I can also meet you where you're at. Maybe you have a favorite gym in the area that you like to go to. I'd be more than happy to meet you there and we can go from there. Another popular option is hybrid training. So in this option, I can meet with you a couple times a week, and then another couple times a week, you can work independently with some custom programs that we've written beforehand. The last option is online coaching fully. So how this would work is I would give you a custom program to work on independently at your own pace, at your own convenience, and then you just send the results to me so that I can critique your form and just make sure that you're doing everything correctly. Pricing options are based completely on your needs. Cheapest would be all online, most expensive would be all in person. But I will work with you to make sure that we are meeting your goals and your needs and your budget. It's up to you. Thanks for watching this video. For more information, for training and pricing options, check out JHayStrength.com.